water. Man, I fucked that up coming in. It's like this. This is the recognizable part. Secret Elon Musk.
Agent man.
Secret, is it Asian, Cajun, agent? I like Secret Cajun man. That would be good. Right?
Right.
Secret Cajun man. He's cooking up you jambalaya. Secret agent man to bring us in on Market Vitals. MarketVitals.io is our community. Mistrade. Matt Davio or Davio, depending on which province in Italy that you are traveling through. HFR from the floor. Bobby Half. It's a Friday, Matt. Everybody's working for the weekend. And welcome to the show, Matt. On the way in, it said, truth, what's here? Let me explain that for you. We have said pretty much since we started the show that any opinions that we may have are worthless. They're just our opinions. And the only truth is the price. And what's here is what an order filler would say if you walked into the pit. Plenty of order fillers weren't domiciled in a particular pit. They went all over the trading floor and filled orders for a particular customer and anything that that customer wanted to trade. So they'd walk into a pit if there was no bid offer obvious, like everybody's just sitting around reading the paper, doing a crossword because nothing's going on. He'd say, what's here? And then the people that got to talk were the best bidders and the best offerers in the pit. What's the best bid? What's the best offer? There's no market depth that you see on an order ladder now. It was just the best bid and best offer. That's who got to talk. And you know what? I think that's what we need more of, is just the best bid and the best offer, and everybody else gets to shut up. Mm-hmm. The amount of available voicing in our society it's beyond brutal that we got to listen, especially to the idiots that we got to listen to. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it in. Truth. The only truth, Matt, is what's here. That's the only truth. And as we run along that thread, everybody gets to talk, and we did this forever at the beginning, most of the year, breaking. The good news is that the elites trust each other more. Could that have been more wrong this year? I'm not sure it could have been more wrong. Because it seems that elites trust each other less and less by the day. And we had this little interaction. Dmitry Medvedev trolling Liz Truss, the British PM that resigned after 44 days after her debit card didn't work at Eaton's when she was trying to buy a new dining room set for 10 Downing Street. And Elon said, in this free marketplace of ideas that Twitter is, a pretty good troll, to be honest. Then he trolls him back. And back and forth. Anyway,
yeah,
I say this because Twitter and his deal, Elon says he's going to lay off 75% of the hardworking workforce at Twitter. I mean, you imagine the amount of calluses and sore backs there is from all the heavy lifting and work at Twitter. Oh, no, I can't imagine that either. Anyway, should be good for cash flow positive modeling after Snap reported again shitty yesterday. So the advertising model continuing to get pummeled.
Yeah, we talked about that. If you wanted it actually traded up to 12 right off the news, and then it just went whoosh, went to 12, bang, and then straight down. So if you weren't quick on that one, if you bought and if you bought calls, they just went to zero. So
interesting here, though, Matt, that there are some news threads that this deal in jeopardy because the U.S. It's amazing how they want to meddle because of his Starlink company, which is not publicly traded. I do not believe.
No. Neither is Boring. Neither is SpaceX. Tesla. Who knows? But this is Snap. I wanted to talk about it. We were talking about it yesterday when it was hanging right around. Yes, I said if you can get a down to that 10 level yesterday, we only got down to 1050, so we really never would have filled anyway. So I would have just let it go and and then whoosh, it washed out. And if you look at the chart, it's interesting. Like we're back to where we were COVID lows. Like we hit them. We hit the COVID lows and we're below them. So again, the steam is playing out. You see it play out over and over in a number of names. It's just, let me just remind you how long Apple still has to go until it hits its COVID lows. But it's a long way away. And that's back here at 53, just to point out on this weekly chart, right? Just to point out. And Twitter, let's just take a peek at it today, because I think it is down today on all this intervention news, which it should be. No private company wants the government meddling in their takeover deal, especially when it's not an antitrust issue at all. This is not.
And they're hard pressed to tie it to Starlink. I mean, they talked about the national security issue with Starlink.
Right.
These are two different companies. I mean, how that chatter transfers to Twitter is beyond me. Other than
it sounds like more fascism to me, digging in. And
yes, they are looking for any reason to get involved and shut it down. Shut
it down. I mean, Steve Bannon going to jail for not responding to a subpoena today. Like, good Lord, like, really? Is this where we live now? Are we living in 80s Russia? Because that's what it feels like. Comrade, if you don't participate, we will come to your door.
Or 30s Germany, sign the papers, old man.
Exactly.
Sign the papers.
But along with that, interestingly enough, Tesla is up today. So let me just show that, because apparently it's good for Tesla when they start.
Well, I guess he can keep all of his energies devoted to Tesla and not be sidetracked with the shit show that the Twitter takeover will for sure be.
Right. So anyways, another bounce here. Like the rest of this market, we just go up, down, but at the end of the week, I mean, let's look at these. This is where we closed last week. So we're very green for the week. We're very green for the week. So do not, don't, again, pay attention, not to nothing but the prices. This is where we closed in the NASDAQ, 775-ish, and we're up 500 points, Bob. It's a nice 4%, 5% week. Most of it happened right on Monday. We peaked and then we sold off, and now we balanced, and now we're going back up. So again, kind of what I said last week, you got to buy that. You got to buy that close last week, and it continues to, be the right trade. Same in the SPOOs. We're all the way back up here to 37.40 as we speak, and we're just grinding at the high of the day with 3 hours to go in the week. Bulls are in charge.
Yeah, they are. 37.10 was that momentum level on the weekly that I want to remind you of. 37.10. It looks like right now, as things are, we're going to close out of low momentum.
We basically were below it. We were at the lows of the day before the market opened, and then somebody came in and bought it. And we're up 100 points now. 36.40 was our low, all the way up to 37.40 now. So, and we've been going up. We had the consummate. Opening IB was, kind of set, and then we sold off from that. We sold off on the NASDAQ about 100 and right about 150, 160 points, and now we've gone up 200 again. So good luck trying to figure out this market and how it works. It's very thin again, and if you're not fast twitched and ready to trade a very, seriously, if your muscles aren't ready to trade,
you got to be particularly good at doing this. Let me see your finger. Let me see your finger elasticity.
But but seriously, you look at this NASDAQ today again. Bam, 1, 2, 3, 4 pushes. Maybe have one more push here up to 300 or so. Why not? Nothing but bulls here. And yesterday's high was 330. Why wouldn't we trade up to there, Bobby? Why wouldn't we? It certainly seems
that is more likely than not. Matt, let's continue down the breaking news. And this was not breaking news recently, but this was JP. And this was, what's the date on this? 9/15/22.
Yeah, about a month ago.
JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon saying that the U.S. is headed towards something worse than recession. Thank you for that. A long, miserable, cold winter of death down the pike. But it seems to me, Matt, that they're in pretty good shape for this eventuality that they see coming down the pike, because they're sitting on 1.2 trillion in cash. I want to know who counted that, because that seems like it would be a long time to count 1.2 trillion.
Well, they definitely sent in the autistic guy who was a really good counter in there. Definitely 1.2 trillion.
Somebody's counting 1.2 trillion. Is it $100 at a time, or is it what is second? Hold on a second. This thing keeps jumping around on me. My question is it a $100 bill at a time, or is it a gram of blow at a time? Ship seized in 1.3 billion cocaine bust is owned by JP Morgan Chase. Usually, like if your vehicle.
So are they working with the cartel, or are they just the distribution arm?
Well, for sure, 1.3 billion in cocaine. Somebody's getting paid somewhere, and for them to hold 1.2 trillion in cash, we have to do 1,000 runs of the 1.3 billion in cocaine.
I mean,
that's have that much
like,
cash.
So how many weeks is that? That takes about half a year.
It seems like it's always been a great business, and if you can be part of the distribution model, it's fantastic for you. What is it? What's here, Matt? What's here? Let's look at JP Morgan Chase, because we're going to hit them from two angles. First of all, the distribution of narcotics, which they have not claimed they were not involved with. It was just their ship. Their ship has came in. Pull up JP Morgan, though, because there's another angle here that is interesting in the news cycle on this.
Yeah, JP is, we've looked at it pretty recently, but it's been on a slide with the rest of the financials. Again, peaking out here at the end of last year, peaked out at 172. Now you're at 120, Bob. Been as low recently as 10, probably right around 100, 102.60 and change, it looks like. Maybe 101. What's the 52-week range? But that's going back a little bit further. Probably it goes back into here somewhere. And there's this gap still. There was this runaway gap here that most people aren't talking about. But that's down here. That will be filled, or has it been filled? It has been filled.
It has been filled. Yeah.
So that gap has been filled. The COVID low, again, 77.24 has not. And the point of control is down here at 60. And this is a 6-7 year chart. So again, we're just working our way. We're just getting into the value zone, and we got a hole in here. Why wouldn't we trade back to $60? Why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we?
Especially if your primary business in a recession is moving below.
Well, like all things, Matt, this graphic behind me is that household stress near record highs. I filled the tank the other day, Matt. $85 to fill the Infinity M35X. $85. Now, and the car.
So what do you have? Like a 15-gallon tank?
I don't know, but it's an absolute pig with gas. A pig.
Well, then you should jump on with Joe Biden, and we're the kings of
problem.
EV.
Even at $85 a gallon, $85 a tank full. The amount of driving that I do, which is so negligible, like my payback is probably 20 years to spend 40 grand on the cheapest EV out there.
Yeah.
What's my payback?
Well, so I was up in the Olympic National Forest last week, 7-8 hour drive, right? We filled up the Dodge Ram 3500 diesel. You want to know what the cost is?
140.
Oh no, keep going, dude. It was like 180, 190 to fill that thing up. 30 gallon tank.
Oh, that is painful. So you guys ate biscuits and gravy?
Stop.
No. Again, household stress is near record highs because of all of these things. Nobody's going to be able to afford blow,
right,
Jamie? So you're going
and then you're having and then you see all the threads now going on about how housing is going to be fine. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Everybody's like, well, I already locked my rate in at 2.5. That's great. But now you can't sell. You can't sell because if you tried to sell it, whatever you think it's worth, you should, because you're not going to find a buyer. And that's the end of that story. And then you're going to try to put it on the rental market and think you can get $5,000 a month. Oh, wait, that's down to about $1,500 a month too, because nobody can because nobody can afford that shit. So you're smoking crack again. And then you want to go, and then you're going to move it over to Airbnb because you think, yeah, my place is worth 300 a night. Well, guess what? Those people aren't traveling. Matter of fact, I just booked a place, down on San Diego for fucking steal. There were so many Airbnbs available. Name your price, we'll take it.
And that's actually part of the model there, because you can talk to the owner via Airbnb. You just send them a message. Hey, you're on crack. There's 12 other places that are available in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
How about 75 a night?
Right. Do you want something, or do you want it to sit vacant for the next week?
Exactly. We keep saying it, Matt, that the market seems to be disconnected with reality, and that's fine and it can stay disconnected longer than you can stay solvent. So please pay attention to the price, because the price is the only thing that matters.
And then so let's look at like the consumer staples, which is we haven't looked at in a long time. And this is just, these are the things that you use every day. Procter and Gamble, soap, toilet paper, right? All the staples. That's all it is. Just survival stuff. This has had a nice run from the lows of the COVID lows. They're 40, let's call it $48, all the way up to 81. And again, this is pretty staid and boring, ETF, right? Because it pays a dividend, 2.7%. And this, Bob, is
can I ask you a question?
Yep.
It pays a dividend because everything that's in the ETF pays a dividend.
That's right. Right.
So they're just redistributing it.
Yeah, redistributing. Yep, that's right. And so but it's a basket of probably 10, 15 stocks. I'm not sure exactly how many. But again, talk to your financial advisor. But this thing is rolling over. It's rolling over, just getting into the distribution zone of value, which basically goes from that COVID low 48 all the way up here to where we are right now, which is right here about 69. So, and the point of control is down here at 55. I mean, why wouldn't we trade there? There's just no reason we wouldn't trade there.
Especially with the climate. I don't give a shit what you tell me. I do not want to go out and spend a $70 dinner when I can buy the piece of meat and make it myself better. These metrics will keep evolving in people's heads.
Right? Yeah, and if you don't think restaurants that have survived during these last 2 years aren't going to go out of business during this environment, again.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
Matt,
the bonds, we talk about them every day, basically, because
we have to talk about them every day.
I agree. Yeah, bring it up.
I mean, it's astounding. Like we're making fresh new lows every day, and equities are like, who cares? Let's party. Let's bid them up today. So no, but it's interesting to talk about it that way, because that's
exactly. It's like, who's got the package? It's my turn in the bathroom. Let's go.
But all this continues to tell me, and this is the ZB all the way down to 118. Guess where we said we're going? 114. We're almost there. Like, I can't believe how quickly this is happening. But we're 111 down here. That's kind of the point of control. Bob, we're back to, we haven't seen mortgage rates. By the way, let me just bring this up, because we haven't seen mortgage rates this high since 2001 or 2. Again, people don't realize this isn't like, you shouldn't be sitting back and just licking your chops because, again, you're hearing people go, oh, there's cash on the sidelines. I'm like, stop. God, I hate that. I hate that shit. Like, it's just bullshit. Cash on the sidelines. What are you, a realtor? Oh yeah, you're a realtor. Gotcha. Cash on the sidelines. Anyways, we're above this level, which is 2000 right here. This is 2001, 2002. And this took 6 months. April 1st, we were at two and a half, 6 months to do this. You don't think there's going to be some backlash coming for the consumer? Oh my gosh. And coming back to your chart right there, household stress near all-time highs.
Matt, let me share one thing on a standard deviation modeling back to XLP, which is,
and that's I would like to see that chart back to I would like to see it back to 2000. Well, it's almost back to 2008. It's much lower than it was there still. We're not even anywhere near those horrible times, right? We're not there.
All right. You have to let me share. Let me share. God damn it. Let me share.
Share.
There we go. again, Matt, this is a monthly look, right? Nobody's trading the monthly chart, and this is XLP. But I want you to envision this as an hourly chart or a 5-minute chart. It's just rolled. My point is, it's just rolled over. The slope on the lower momentum has just turned negative. And we were basically positive on the slope since 2009, since the lows of 2009. This is not a healthy chart. And with household stress where it is, how is this going to reverse itself in any timely fashion? I just don't see how it's possible. I will continue to say at some point, the market wakes up to the reality on the ground, and maybe it needs to be, when Elon lays off 6,000 people or whatever that math is, maybe when unemployment starts flying again, maybe when not only are people, our companies, not only are they laying off, but they're losing money. They're not paying dividends because they didn't make any money for the quarter.
Right.
Maybe those are the things that will finally force the giant swallow, the big gulp, as it were, in this market. They outlawed big gulps because they weren't healthy for you, apparently. 50 milligrams of sugar. They outlawed it. You can't even buy a big gulp anymore, but it seems to be available in the psyche of the market. The psyche of the market still thinks the big gulp is available and we're going to go to new highs.
Right.
I'm saying you are out of your mind after you fill your tank again and then don't have, well, here's another one, Matt. Who's got ramen futures on their bingo card?
Who makes ramen? Do we know?
We need to find out the food processors that make ramen, because
don't you think there's already a lot of crickets in ramen?
100%. And I'm actually not opposed to eating, insect protein. I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not. Don't tell me that you're going to replace insect protein for a beautiful, beef tenderloin or a New York strip steak, reverse seared, gorgeous, with some melted animal fat butter as you baste it in the cast iron skillet. Don't tell me that I'm gonna stop cracking open a beautiful bottle of wine and demolishing some animal protein. That ain't happening. I'll eat cricket protein. I don't care. If we're out on the trail and somebody's got a protein bar and my stomach is eating my spine, I'll say, yeah, give me the cricket bar. I'll eat the cricket bar. Not a problem. And that's what I hate about society, is that there's so much, there's just so much animosity being developed because one way is the only way, and it's the righteous way. And I hated that, by the way. I hated that about the right, the way that they preached for decades, the moral majority. You know what? If you're the moral majority and I don't agree with you, does that make me the immoral minority? I mean, my mom used to say that. She used to get pissed off about that tack. But now it's like the left has fully taken over that stance of we are the moral majority, and not only what we say is right and correct, but you are wrong and bad if you don't step in line and believe what we're telling you. It's beyond nauseating. Anyway, what's here, Matt? Shut me up with a bid offer. Anything else on price discovery?
I mean, it's hard because we're sitting here Friday and we're sitting at the highs, and we got 3 hours until close and we're just sitting here. So I mean, price discovery wise, intraday trading, there's not a lot going on. I don't know, it's quiet. Let me bring up the ultras just so you can see this. And again, we were talking about bonds, but let me bring up the bond futures. And the ultras are hit another new low this morning, and I'm just going to bring up a 5-minute chart so you can see the action on this. But this has been chopping all over the rest of the day. But is it really bullish when we closed at the lows yesterday and we're below those? It's hard for me to get too seriously bullish. But again, the low yesterday 126.29, we're still 1.5 below that. And we made new lows on these suckers all the way down here to 123s. I mean, look at that. I mean, if you bought 126 and said, all right, I'm getting out at 125, well, that got you out somewhere overnight, somewhere down in here, and then it whooshed down another $2. And now it's kind of back to that 125 level. So again, I don't see much happening here. 15-minute chart, this thing is just straight on trending. Look how beautiful this is. And again, what chart do you want to trade? I would probably say look at the hourly until this thing changes the hourly trajectory, and it hasn't for a long time. This thing is just slip sliding away. I mean, it is just, now it's oversold and it's going to rally at some point, but will it be like 110 for the ZB? Maybe, and this hasn't been trading as long, so it's not going to give us the same profile. But again, you're basically in no, I mean, this thing, you're almost at all-time lows. The all-time lows is 117 here.
For the life of that contract.
Now, way oversold, right? So way oversold. This is the RSI way down here at 21 on a monthly. This is going to bounce hard very soon. So now, if you have not been short, now is not the time to put on a new short position without real tight hands.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hey, Matt, speaking of tight hands, pull up Sam Adams. They reported, and they're up 17% today on their earnings. And I cannot tell you how patiently I would be. I don't trade a lot of stocks, but this is one name that we've looked at before, Matt. And I just, great news. Whatever the news that they
no, they had a big miss. So misses are rewarded in this market.
Is that crazy? Yeah, I know they had a big miss, but supposedly
like a 25% miss. Like that's huge. So they were expecting 290 and they got 220. Sales were up. Sales were over. So again, their product costs more, but the profits are less. So it's hard to get too excited about it. To your point.
So maybe the market was incredibly short.
It was over. Yeah, I think again, this thing's been so oversold for so long. So yeah, it blows off some, but really, is it proven anything? Is it over 400? No. And you can see here on the 610, it's just in the value zone. I mean, theoretically, it's a $300 stock, which is, let's assume it's 39. It can trade to 664. Sure.
What is the other giant? It's a double Gallagher for sure. And what is that area there? The other gun.
That's 530.
530. All right. Again, things can stay disjointed to the facts on the ground, and shorts can get squeezed, and the markets can be very difficult to trade when that setup is saying that it is. But I just don't see long term how premium beer and premium seltzer, especially with the amount of competition that keeps coming. I do it right now with seltzers, just regular non-alcoholic seltzers. You go in the seltzer aisle, and some of my favorites, when they're on sale, I buy those. But how do you look at a seltzer shelf, right, and see one that is like $6 a 12-pack, and then they have one that's on sale that's $2.99
or $1.99, right,
or $1.99 for 12 of them.
Like, when all it is carbonated water. Oh.
Yes. No. I only get the LaCroix. Shut up. Get the Bubbly. Get the Jason Bublé. So
bubbly water. Yeah, I'd rather just drink tap water. I pay for it already. So, and it tastes good here because it's coming from the rivers, which is snow melt. Last night, we got to talk about this again. You said take the under the Thursday night. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I am not.
I just said take the Cardinals, and they covered. So,
I need to share a story because I'm not a great gambler. All right, I think I'm a way better. Like I play craps to break even, and over my lifetime, I've caught some great rolls and paid for a lot.
You're able to like control the spin a little bit.
Exactly. I've honest to God paid for several trips at the craps table, and looking just to do that. Like I just want to, and so right there, Matt, the profit walk away is already in my mind, and back in the early 90s, it was like, if I can make 800 at this table, I'll have paid for the trip.
Right.
So I'm up 800, I'm up 900, I'm out of there. Like right. I paid for the trip. I did what.
Well, that's the way you should do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I only say that because on the trading floor, especially right now, like on Fridays, and this is actually late because if it was a slow market at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, especially as phone clerks, you'd be sitting there elbow to elbow and within talking distance as 12 people, six people each side of you that you could actually have a conversation with. And we would say the windows are open, i.e., let's start gambling. Let's start writing down our bets for the weekend. And my brother, who is a monster mush. Let me say that again. A monster mush. And so we decided, my other brother decided to back him in a restaurant business, right? Because he's a fantastic chef and restaurateur, but he worked on the trading floor for several years in between owning different restaurants and stuff. And so he's saying, you know what, guys, it's been a great run here, but I'm going back to the restaurant business. And I have a guy come up to me and go, Bobby, you can't let him go. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, no, you don't understand how much money I've made over the last 2 years fading your brother. He goes, I will give him a raise. I will pay him. Let me help keep him on the trading floor. He has to be here. Do you understand this? You cannot let him go. And the guy was absolutely dead serious that I need to know what his picks are so I can fade him. And I've made tens of thousands of dollars doing it. Please don't let him go flip burgers. And he wasn't flipping burgers, by the way. He was creating the Shrimp Mojo, which you can get available at Amazon.com. That is the actual backstory for Shrimp Mojo Spice. It was at the Shrimp Walk restaurant in Highwood, Illinois for several decades, pleasing people with flavor kicks to the mouth. And you can still enjoy it. Shrimp Mojo at Amazon.com. Anyway, Matt,
let's talk a little sports, because this market is just drifting up higher as we go into the Friday weekend. And again, Bulls are in control. There's nothing to really change here. The undefeated teams has not changed since we talked about it Wednesday. But what has changed is some picks. You're 1-0 already in the pro by taking the Phoenix Cardinals -2.5. They won by like 8. So, and
but
Phoenix,
I lost.
But by the way, Phoenix alone covered the over. Phoenix alone. That's how bad you are. So
it's free money. Bet the under. I knew as soon as it came out of my mouth that I should take the over. As soon as it came out of my mouth. The
only other pro pick since we're 1-0 is again, take Tom Brady. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he going to be back with Giselle or not? That's really all we care about, right? It's taking over because we're kind of sick of Kanye and Kim. Matter of fact, I'm hoping this puts a fork in the Kardashians. I hope they're almost done, but I just don't know. I mean, do the consumers still want to watch that garbage? Apparently,
yes.
Apparently, they've been doing it for 20 years. So yes, is the answer. Correct. But seriously, this weekend, I'm going to give you Michigan. Take Michigan because they have the bye. They should be able to win that game. And
lock. We call that a lock. Our number one.
That's
lock.
Before the Blue Out next weekend versus Little Bro in Ann Arbor. The Blue Out. They've never had the Blue Out night game in A squared against Little Bro. It's a trip up game. I'm nervous as all get up about this party. Always. Anyways, this week, on to this week's games. There's not a lot that I love, but I've found 8 games that I think if you take them all, hopefully, we'll get 5-3 or better. That's our goal here. I don't really have a parlay that I feel strongly about, so I'm going to leave that up to the players to put that in themselves. But let's go this way. I got Oklahoma State hosting Texas. Cowboys lost last week. Texas has been rolling with this Ewers. He's got the greatest mullet ever in quarterback history, maybe since Art Schlichter, and we saw what's been happening to him recently. So let's fade Ewers, the former Buckeye who got $1 million to sit on the bench with an NFT last year. Now he's at Texas, where he's from, getting even more NFT money. So let's take Oklahoma State to bounce back versus the Longhorns. Versus the Longhorns, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so that's +6.5, and they're hosting. So I like that a lot. I mean, they're actually hosting the game. And then you have, I'm going to go with Cincinnati at SMU. Cincinnati is favored, I believe, 3.5. Let me just look at that again here. I may have this reversed. They may be getting points, which I liked even more. No, they're giving 3. So Cincinnati's giving 3 against SMU. But again, I like that game a lot. I think that'll work out well. Clemson hosting Syracuse, the 2 undefeateds that are on that list of yours, Bob. And did I lose you?
No. I'm here.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I like Clemson. Right? And
what are they minus?
they are minus 13.5 right now. So get it under 2 touchdowns. I think they'll whack them. I think they will actually whack-a-doodle Syracuse. Mississippi still undefeated and getting no respect at LSU, which the Swamp is never easy, Bob, but they are looking like, let's see, they are the +2. So take Mississippi, the Rebels, getting 2 points at LSU as an undefeated team against the 5-2 Bayou Bengals. And then Mississippi State, I'm staying in the South here. Mississippi State is 21-point dogs at Bama. Yeah, Bama's going to be pissed, right? They're definitely going to be pissed. So we know that is coming. And then, but I got to say, you got to take Mississippi State Bulldogs here. I just think you can't. I don't think you can fade that right now. 21 points is a lot of points, and Bama's not looking that great. Penn State, I'm finally going to take Penn State against your Gophers. Row the boat. PJ Fleck has just gone downhill again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that team. They were so
I'm going to say Penn State at home, giving 4.5 should be a good bet for the players here. TCU, another undefeated, at home, hosting Kansas State, always a tough game, minus 3.5. Take the Christians again, the Horned Frogs. And then finally, the 12:30 game here locally, 3:30 Eastern, U of O versus UCLA. I'm kind of torn here. U of O is really playing well, and I think that 6.5 is a sucker line. So it makes me want to take them, but fuck it, I gotta take UCLA plus 6.5.
Minus 6.5, right?
No. UCLA is getting 6.5.
Oh yeah. 6.5. Give me a break. Chip Kelly back to where he cut his teeth and became famous. Yep. I mean, he should be able to rally the UCLA troops. Unbelievable UCLA. Have you been to the UCLA campus, Matt? Because if you go to a UCLA game in Pasadena, you're not going to the campus. I mean, it's 50 miles away.
Right. I have.
Anyway.
I have.
Fairly nice digs they got down there at UCLA and Brentwood.
Brentwood's awfully nice. Awfully nice.
Very nice.
10:38 here, and again, we're just grinding at the top. Let me give everybody kind of the look of these markets. If you're looking for a degenerate trade, I don't really see much shaping up here unless we break this line. If we can get under like 220, we might see some downside back here, maybe 100 points. So, but wait for that break to show itself. We've just been grinding up here really since, we made this high at 7 o'clock, and then they sold off hard. And then I think one of the Fed heads came in and said, you know what, we got to be aggressive, but not too aggressive. And that was worth, what was it worth? 10.50, 11, so that was worth 200 points already. And we're just still sitting up here at the high. So very thin, the volume down, price up. To me, that's never a good thing, but doesn't mean anything either. The way this market's so thin, it's either all up or all down. We've talked about it. There's really nothing to add to that except it's all up or all down.
Right on.
And and again, the SPOOs, same thing. I think they're going to have a hard time getting over 37.50 today. So we've banged against 40 twice, and that keeps coming off. So you can trade 40 to 50. I think sell side the rest of the day.
Yeah, I actually don't mind selling the SPOOs here up to 50, and if they get them above there, I wouldn't want to be involved on the short side.
Right. And then, just to follow through on the follow through, I just saw this. Netflix is up another $18 today. So interesting that, they had the runaway earnings, and that was good news. And let's just look at this the last few days. This continues to go higher. And
it's a giant gap they're filling. Yeah, Matt, a giant gap.
Yeah, it's there. It's up there, yet to come. We're a long way away. And I don't, again, this thing right in here is what you're talking about. That's all the way up here to 330. So that's another $50. Why wouldn't we fill that gap? Sure. but again, this is starting to be, this is constructive now for the Netflix chart, as long as it stays above kind of that 225 area.
Yeah, I agree.
That looks pretty bullish to me. And why wouldn't we trade up to the high end of the value there? Don't forget the all-time high was 700. So don't get too excited.
Yeah, I'm not saying, yeah. I just think that that next battle zone should be tested. It should go test that area.
The bottom of the breakdown, 3.25.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
of course.
So again, we're up 7.5% today. That's looking still very favorable for anybody that's loving to watch Netflix all the time. So I'm trying to cancel mine every time, and my kids complain.
I just told you on the way in, rewatching The Crown, a Netflix show, and I think it's fantastically done. I think the writing is great. I think that the acting is superb. I think it really gives you a flavor of, I said it's so funny when you're able to depict the positive and negative of any kind of system. And let's face it, the monarchy is a system, and it's a long history system. Man, I find it so amazing that in the woke culture of, everybody's a racist asshole, basically, yet all the media, movies, series, video games is nothing but hierarchies at battle. And I don't care what it is, whether it's Lord of the Rings to it's all like, you want to bastardize hierarchies and the way people construct their social order as it's wrong, yet that's what people are. That's what civilizations are. And what is your vision of this egalitarian society that we're all just a bunch of ants? I bet you even ants can tell who's slacking in the anthill. Like we got to get rid of this guy, man. He's been slacking. He hadn't brought a grub back in weeks. I don't know what he does when he goes out there. I think he's with the JP Morgan crew.
He just
smoking crack.
He ain't getting it done.
Anyway, I love The Crown. I think it's very well done on Netflix. There, we give a little plug for Netflix. Anything else, Matt?
No, I'm ready for the weekend. Everybody's working for the weekend, and high of 45 expected here today. So there you go.
All right, Matt. Let me share, and I don't have the actual ingredient right in front of me to show you visually, but let me talk it. Let me talk you through it. And in order to do that, though, I really would like to do this and go here. Can you hear me still?
I can.
You can. We're going to head to the Manja Test Kitchen. See how quickly we can do that here? Unbelievable with technology. I ran downstairs to the Manja Test Kitchen to talk to you and walk you through a hot toddy. Now, if you go online and look up for a recipe of hot toddy, it's usually whiskey with like some sort of lemon water and maybe some cinnamon stick or some sort of herbs. But I got to tell you, I've looked far and wide, and I have never found this recipe that my father-in-law shared with me, who was a tank commander in Korea, where it got pretty fucking cold. And they made hot toddies with whiskey, which the Canadian military, by the way, is fantastic in their rationing to their soldiers. They get beer, cigarettes, whiskey, the things that you need to cope with a forward environment. Anyway, the hot toddy that he perfected is whiskey, beef consomme, right? And then if you can get a sprig of rosemary, even better. Some sort of savory herb that you can put in with that. Hear me first. This is called we're going to call it the Sergeant Garner hot toddy. Beef consomme, whiskey, and a little sprig of rosemary. It's going to be cold out there going forward here, man. And you need a hot drink every once in a while to take the chill off.
To warm the cockles.
To warm the cockles. And I got to tell you, like I said, I have not seen this. I've looked and I have not seen somebody come up with that hot toddy recipe ever. So prove me wrong if you're out there and you can find a hot toddy recipe published somewhere, because this right here is the first publishing of it as far as I'm concerned. This audio broadcast is the first premiership of the hot toddy, a la the fantastic and now deceased
And
tank
you're going to share
commander.
that recipe in the network at marketvitals.io.
I certainly will. Hot toddy 40s today. The tailgate's going forward now, unless you're in the South, of course, which has never seen a nasty tailgate in their existence. But I know you have froze your ass off in Ann Arbor pre-gaming for sure.
For
And
sure.
hot toddy it up on your next tailgate that requires something warm and soothing and savory from your friends at Market Vitals and Manja TV. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bobby. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the other side.